GM, GM, GM. How is everyone doing on this fine blessed morning? Afternoon, actually, for me and most of you. Hey, Val Phoenix. Let's give everyone a few minutes to settle in, get some water, because today we have some cool stuff to talk about. I have some cool stuff prepared for today. I feel you guys will be happy in many different levels. And we have something special for this lore brew, for these lore keepers. We have a sponsor that has given us a prize to give away today during these lore keepers. And it's a very, very, very cool prize. As soon as we settle in, have everyone join, I should start the event actually. It is not actually Jindo. Surprising as it may come, it's not Mr. Neo. Yeah. We have another sponsor for today. Mm. It's actually not a newbie. It's actually an ancient member of this community, or Lord Protector of the Lore. Mr. VB is sponsoring us today, and he has this cool on-brand Lore Keeper notebook to give away. This is insanely cool. And yeah. It's your opportunity to get your own brand Lore Keeper's notebook. Totally free. The only thing that you probably need to pay is the shipping, but it's a beauty. It's a beauty, and I'm looking forward to giving it away. And VB, I'm not sure if you have a way of doing this giveaway, but I was thinking about doing a quiz. Tie it to the lore, of course, of Star Atlas. So, bro, look at that. This VB, man. Blessed by Iris. I will pay for the shipping, VB. Let me do something as well here. I'll pay for the shipping. So, yep. Uh, I think we can get started. And yes, we'll start by doing this giveaway. And for this giveaway of this notebook of the lore keepers, totally on brand. You can see the image above. We linked it here. I'll ask the question, and the first one to type the answer in the chat will win the notebook. So let us get started. I'll start writing. The rules are the first one to answer correctly. Writing on chat will win. I'll give you a hint beforehand. It's related to the last Lore Keepers event. And here goes the question. What sector contains the living factory's ruins in Galia Expanse? Medium zone. Let's add not MRZ 15 Shadix. Jesus, no, you guys are not going to try to guess the number. Yeah, close, very close. No way. Shame on you guys. Shame, Shadix. This the answer to this is literally posted on this Atlas Beer Lounge chat. No way, VB. I don't think anyone deserves the notebook, bro. I'm giving it. I'm sending it to myself. It's literally here on the chat. A few, a few messages above. Yes, Val Phoenix, congratulations. Harkand, MRZ territory on Ulster territory. Congratulations, my friend. You won the Lore Keeper's notebook. Message VB so we can get everything aligned. VB has a special link for you. And he'll let me know how much it costs for the shipping and I'll send him the money. Congratulations, Vals Phoenix. And with this, now I think we can get started. Uh, Mr. Darwin, are you there, my friend? Because I'll start these lore keepers strong. I'm going to show you guys a piece of alpha uh, that I mentioned on the last lore keepers meeting. I mentioned that we were working on something and Arthur and I, Darwin and I have been cooking and we are looking forward to showing you guys the first steps of the RPG campaign Discord bot that we spoke about on the last Lore Keepers. So Darwin, if you can share your screen for us today. Thank you, friend. So guys, first of all, a few disclaimers. This is a prototype of our RPG campaign system, and this is how it's going to work. Like, let me share with you guys some details. Basically, this is an RPG campaign. This is an RPG campaign where we, the collective of the Staratas community, are going to together work in an RPG party, trying to uncover the secrets of Embercoil, which is a ruin in the Ulster sector of Harkand, where the remains of the ancient living factors civilization lives. Hey Lancer, welcome friend. Glad to have you with us today. And basically, how this campaign works is that the players of Star Atlas will need to be voting on what our party of fierce and intrepid explorers do while exploring the dungeons of Embercoil. Uh, This is the first page, uh, giving some context here, how this everything how it was going to work. This is the first page. Uh, I have echo. No, no one said that actually. You guys hear me with echo? Really? Does anyone has a hot mic? Oh, it's the stream. It's the stream. You guys need to silence the stream. Yeah. Silence Arthur's stream, please. Otherwise, you get some echoes. Okay. So going back here, this is the first page and how this works. Um, Basically, all of us are going to play this RPG adventure together, and we need to vote and study how we should move forward in this dungeon that is set in the Staratas world, in the Staratas universe. As you can see, we have a few options here on the main menu. Arthur, if you can click on the left one, Embercoil lore. Every step of the way, every room, every place in the dungeon that we enter, there is a lore explanation of the room that we'll be playing. Right now, since we are just on the first page, there is some general information about Embercoil. But as we progress inside the dungeon, it will give us lore information about the place that we are, what our characters are seeing, and this will allow us to make better informed decisions on the moves that we make next. Arthur, if you can dismiss that, let's go to the next page, the view crew details here. This is actually one of the coolest parts of this RPG campaign. Our party has stats. All our decisions inside the game will trigger reactions on our crew members. So, for example, you can see that everyone right now has full health. Our characters have different roles, abilities, and personalities. And this will have an impact in game because each one of those characters, they have specializations, they have skills that have cooldowns, and we will need to manage those characters to the best of our abilities to survive in Embercore. If we do things right, the characters will most likely survive the challenges in the dungeon, being those fights, traps, enigmas, uh, environmental problems. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but yeah, we have a full RPG party here. And each one of them has different skills, different specializations, and we will need to choose who in our party will be leading our efforts on facing the dungeons challenges in game. So let's go to begin our adventure. And these guys, just some uh, context here. What we are doing is I have created Embercoil, and we are feeding this artificial intelligence the details on Embercoil, on every room, every monster, every loot drop available. Everything in this campaign is created in real time, but based on the context that we are giving them. So here, whenever we enter a room or anything happens in this RPG system, you guys will see that I have added things there to like Mole Man Camp or something like that. That's to not give you guys away spoilers about what you're going to find there. So I gave you these years is still very generic, but there will be different actions that we can take to face the ecosystem of Embercoil. So Arthur, just click something so we show them how the system works. Uh, as I told you, we have the examine environment here, and this will influence on the outcome of the actions that we can take here. As you guys see, we have two actions that we can take. One is super easy to do, we have 70% chance of being successful, and the other is slightly more dangerous. We only have 50%. So let's go with the moderate, Arthur, to show them. And this is also something interesting to share with them, Arthur. Here, you guys saw what Arthur was doing is he was voting on the action. When we launch this on Discord, everyone on Discord will be able to vote on what happens in the RPG campaign. So this is like a as if the all the players in the lore keepers were choosing how the characters in game will proceed in our dungeon. After one action is decided by the players, we then need to choose which character in our party is going to lead this task that we have chosen. As you guys can see, our different characters, they have different aptitudes, and some of those aptitudes are tuned to the action that we are doing. By choosing them, this will influence the outcome of the actions, giving us a better chance of success. So Arthur, feel free to pick a character with a good skill for this one. And then the AI will roll the results. And then
Do it.
here we go. Sorry.
Ah,
No worries, key. So then we'll roll the dice, and then the AI will generate the outcome based on our dice roll, the action that we took, the crew member that performed the action, and all the context that we fed it about Embercoil and Stratus lore. It takes a little while because it's being generated now, so bear with us. But yeah, here it comes. Yeah, as you can see, it narrates what's happened, and then we move forward with the RPG campaign, and we keep going. The cool stuff here is that we have things like, and Arthur, if you want to scroll down a little bit, we have things like inventory and use aptitudes, which are the skills. Right now, we don't have anything in our inventories because we didn't find anything, and I didn't share the initial items that the characters will have in the campaign. So we need to find more stuff before we can use them, but we have skills that each character can use, and they have a cooldown. So for example, Jax, the leader, he has a rally skill that boosts the entire chance of succeeding in our next roll. If we are feeling that the next roll is super important for the dungeon, we trigger Jax's ability. It has a cooldown, but this will help us on our next challenge. And the other informations works like that. Zor ability, for example, is a skill that reveals secrets in a room. So, for example, if the lore description of a room gives you the idea that there might be something hidden there, maybe we can use Zor skill to try to find whatever is hidden. So, yeah, this is the stage that we are now. There is still, of course, a lot of work to do, but the system overall works. What we are going to do right now is refine it, make it more engaging, adding more RPG stats and elements, and of course, build more on the Staratas lore and everything. Any questions that you guys have? What you guys thought about this? Do you guys think it's cool? The direction that we are going? I want to hear your thoughts here, you guys that like and enjoy the Staratas lore. You guys have been so quiet during the whole presentation. You like it, Bob? Good to hear, my friend. Yeah, the idea here, boys, is to expand on the Starata's lore while giving you guys something to do here on Discord. And we also want to create mechanisms where people who actively participate in this might win little prizes, uh, like Star Atlas skins or things like that. Minor stuff, nothing too fancy, but something to keep people engaged. And yeah, VB wants to vote on who are the party members going in this campaign. So yeah, if you guys want to be one of the party members, DM me your Discord handle, and I'll add you to the vote options when we decide who are going to be the explorers on the Embercoil dungeon. Yes, Captain Kane, and I see Bob asked this as well. If you guys mess up, if we mess up on the rolls, it's entirely possible that everyone dies. I was talking to Arthur. One thing, for example, I'll give you a dumb way to die in game. There are tunnels in Embercoil sewers that are filled with gas. And there are items and weapons that produces flames in the dungeon. So if you go there and you see the lore description saying that there is gas leaking and you decide to use a fire weapon, you will explode the tunnel and everyone dies and we are wiped. GG. We start over. So yeah, we need to be conscious about the choices that we have. And I was also thinking of doing something super cool, which is if we succeed on the first run of Embercoil, I'll have this impact the Star Atlas lore, the world lore of our game, with the results of this dungeon. And if we fail, something bad might happen in the future because of that. So this is another incentive to have players engaging with this and taking this seriously and trying the best outcome for everyone's sakes in the future of Star Atlas. George Martin style, yes, Captain Kine. That's exactly what we are going to do, my friend. Yes, Neo, that's exactly what I'm proposing. This will affect the outcome of the lore. Yes. Depending on what happens, of course, during this dungeon. But yep. Moving on. This was just one segment of our Lore Keepers event today. And now I want to go into something that I have been looking forward for a long time now to speak with you guys about, which is properties from the Tufas. As you guys know, the high risk zone in Star Atlas is the place where magic happens, right? You guys also know that in the future, and this future is the not so far away future, features like ship uh, components, specializations, uh, where players can choose the different components that they are going to use in their ships from the different manufacturers and etc. They will affect your ship performance in game, right? So I have been looking forward, I have been playing with this concept for a long while now. It's nothing to do with game design per se, at least not right now, but I foresee that there will be an intersection in the future. And I'm going to present to you guys what I'm thinking in terms of how the two FUS systems work as resources. I have revealed in past conversations that we have different broods of tufas in Galia Expanse, right? Uh, which is to say that not all tufas they are they behave the same or they work in the same logic, but there is a unifying factor that spreads across every tufa in Star Atlas, which is that they are metagenic creatures in game. And this is, for those who doesn't know, uh, metagenic materials are substances capable of self-alteration, adaptation, overall transformation on a molecular or atomic level. Now you know why Santi joined us today, right, BB? He wants the alpha on Tufa stuff. So yeah, the Tufas, their core, their existence is marked with this unique property is that their materials they work on a metagenic level, which is why Tufas are so powerful and also why they are so precious. And today I'm going to explore with you guys how this could tie to our in-game fleet's compositions, especially when we discuss about the possibilities for the high risk zone materials, how those more rare elements can change the whole perspective of shift. This is the best brew ever, PG. This is something cool. Yeah, I really like this. So, without ado, I'll start sharing with you guys where my mind is. Again, a disclaimer: this is not necessarily making into game design, but this is how I see the construction of high tier components in Star Atlas to work. Basically, right now, you guys have been airdropped the standard. Sorry, I agree. This is pure unadulterated game design leaks. No, steady. Keep it steady. So, yeah, right now you guys already have in your wallets, if you are an OG of Star Atlas, which most of you guys are, when you guys bought your first ships, uh, you guys also received later on an airdrop of components coming from the manufacturer of those components, right? We have tier 1s, tier 2, and tier 3 components for each one of our ship parts. And as it's public knowledge for everyone, those components in the future, they can be exchanged. We have power sources, we have hard points, we have rules for ships, we have a variety of different stuff that each one of the ships can change uh, in their components to make your ship more special. So, for example, uh, the Ogrica components usually are better at warping. They are designed to be specialized on this forefront. Each one of the manufacturers has different specializations. So, for example, Pierce is very focused on firepower and etc. But, 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 those are, let's say, the natural components, the natural items, the natural progression that uses resources that are found uh, that are found in the safe zone and the medium zone. When we are talking about materials that are born in the high risk zone, we open up a can of worms. We open up a series of different materials, which some of them are the metagenic stuff that I'm going to talk a little bit about today, that opens the doors to unique capabilities in terms of components. You guys have seen something about this already if you have been following the Staratas lore. You guys might not be aware that you guys saw it, but if you pay attention to the core saga, you remember that at a given moment, the core crew came across a component that had Potoli abilities. That had Potoli abilities, and it allowed the ship, the Calico ship that they were using, to move through a barrier in the Cataclysm Zone. This is pretty much what we are going to discuss today, the different things and ideas that I'm working on in terms of lore for those higher tier components, higher tier items in the Star Atlas game. And those would be very rare materials, very hard to find in game. But if you manage to have someone that, first of all, has the necessary skills to synthesize them, and second, if you manage to acquire those raw materials, for example, if you are talking about the Tufa stuff, we are talking about actually killing higher tier Tufas with very concentrated Geonisium uh, reserves, then you'd be able to create some mind-blowing stuff. Let me get here my list right now uh, that I have prepared a few of them. Let me share with you guys. Hold on a second. Give me a moment. I I have closed the tab, so now I need to find all my notes and make sure I'm not forgetting something. Give me just a minute, guys. Sorry. Here. I posted here uh I posted here a few ideas and I'm going to run through them as we speak, and I would love to hear you guys feedback on each one of them, how you guys feel about those, and how, and even other ideas that we could add to the game that that we could use or think about incorporating in the Star Atlas in the future. So let's go to the first one here. Um, Self-healing nanostructures. So this is one concept that I have been thinking about for a hybrid virus structure in the high risk zone that you can find uh, that comes from a natural born artificial intelligence that basically it bounds with a biological being and or mechanical being, and it automatically regenerates damage. So for example, let's say that your ship in game has its hull infused with this material. So your ship, this would come as a rare resource that you could craft your ship rule with it embedding this property inside your ship. If you manage to synthesize it, if you manage to have someone skilled enough to create this, and this would create a passive regeneration in your ship that would drain your power source for a little bit. The bigger the damage, the bigger the the drain, but it would automatically keep your ship repairing as if it was being actively repaired by another ship or by the consume of toolkits and etc etc. Uh, this is also something, guys, this theory crafting here is also something that we can apply to items for your crew members in game. So for example, you have that very special crew member that you have been training from day one in Star Atlas. He's a legendary commander. He's your guy, you know, you play with him every day, and you don't want him to die, no matter what. So you expand this legendary grade ingredient just to create an armor for him that will make sure that uh, he will survive no matter what, you know, like that he'll be able to to get away from situations and etc. And another thing that I was thinking about is that maybe those materials they can be used across the different gameplay modes of Star Atlas. So for example, some of those materials would be only found in Unreal Engine 5 when we have a raid or a dungeon dive in the high risk zone. So the only way for you to do that is by playing the game in Unreal Engine 5, committing your crew members to going there in a dungeon there, and going back, surviving, and bringing up a little bit of this material that can be used for one ship or one armor, for example. Then, and guys, feel free to comment on anything, like stop me, ask questions any moment, okay? This is a more focused on theory crafting section. Uh, so yeah, exactly, PG. You sacrifice the lives of many to make sure someone else in the future won't die. Yes, this is the idea. And I knew you would love this. So the next concept is programmable matter, claytronics. So the idea here is about a substance that can rearrange its forms and shapes to any texture or function. This is basically an item, let's say a weapon, that can turn into a shield, that can turn into an utility item, something that won't that will have a limited uh, storage use, but will be able to perform many different functions in your inventory. Right now, you guys don't feel this a lot in game because you have unlimited inventory everywhere, and we don't have the RPG elements that constrains players' inventories in game. So you can carry everything that you need, but in the future, it's not going to be that easy. Uh, not going to be that easy. You need to make decisions on what kind of weapons and inventory your crew members will bring together, will bring to a mission, and and what they are going to do. And if you have items with this capacity, uh, you might be able to perform more actions carrying a smaller inventory, which is going to be a great advantage in the future. Uh, Captain Kai, this is actually this is the spirit of the high risk zone, right? You need to be prepared to lose everything that you send to the high risk zone, because if you succeed, you find things that are worthwhile this expedition. I mean, this is how we have always communicated this, and I'm actually curious to know what you guys think about this. Like, do you guys like the high risk zone like that, or do you guys think we should be more forgiving with the high risk zone overall? Like, I am 100% the guy that wants the high risk zone to be dangerous and deadly, but I'd love to know like what you guys think about this actually. I see many people typing. Neil's wishing everyone luck. Jindo wants it to stay little. Bob also loves little. Yeah, I mean, it's beneficial to start Atlas, in my opinion, of course, right? It's super beneficial to start Atlas that we have one hardcore zone in the game, right? Uh, I mean, you know what, Tekarat? I think it's different. I think you are. I think if I'm going to the high risk zone, having a Titan, uh, having a Titan there is. If I was a member of the guild, I would love to see my Titan over there offering protection to us, you know? Because the Titan has the great ability to also be a moving starbase. You can store a lot of resources there. You can create a temporary base of operations. And if shit hits the fan, it's really, really hard to keep a Titan from fleeing a battle. If he needs to flee the battle, right? I mean, if you if something strong enough to threaten a Titan appears, shit is hitting the fan very fast, right? I mean, there are not many creatures or fleets that can be extremely dangerous to a Titan. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see that. Yeah, Titan versus Titan, the high risk zone, that's nuts. Yes, that's crazy new. But yeah, let's go back here to the to my list because we have many things to go through yet. Uh, Biomimetic metagenics. This is a cool stuff as well that I want to explore with you guys. Uh, and this is actually something that I'm not sure how deep we are going to go, especially in the beginning of Star Atlas. But in my vision and the way that I'm building the lore of Star Atlas, environment plays a huge role in the game. And what I mean by that is that it's very important for you to know where you are going in the high risk zone. And I mean by that is that you need to scan the area, the planet that you are thinking about visiting, especially when you are in the high risk zone. There are some obvious signs that anyone who sees will know that they need to take care of. For example, if you go to a planet that's an enormous ice ball, you know that temperature is going to be a problem. So you pack in your inventory potions or nanobots that will make you resistant to cold. You have supplies like food because you know that at some point it's going to be hard to find food in a frozen planet and things like that. But there are things that are not that obvious. Uh, for example, radiation. Maybe the planet that you are going to drop in the hydro zone is a radioactive planet. Uh, so maybe in this planet there are beings that are invisible to the light spectrum of most species, and you can just see them using X-ray vision. Yeah, this is the this is the kind of thing that I think about every night. So mimetic material. Sorry, can you guys hear me? Okay, I'm back. Sorry. So yeah, those mimetic materials are are materials that adapt really well to different places and different situations in Stratus. Yes, Jindo, answering your question, this kind of gear, this kind of material, will provide you with resistance to most environments in game automatically. Of course, you can craft gear, potions, items to different stuff, but those special properties will have a direct ability of reacting to the environment that you are in and providing resistances or adapting to make sure your crew members survive. Yes, PG. Different species, right, will be more adaptable to different environments. At least in the lore of Star Atlas. Again, I'm not sure how much of this will be implemented outright in terms of game design, but yes. For example, Mieris are extremely resistant to poisons. For example, Usturs, they are more resistant to some aspects that attacks biological beings, but they are susceptible to hacking or EMPs and other things that attack or damage, uh, super vulnerable to rust. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, this kind of stuff. Uh, yeah, I like the idea of having different species, having different relationships with the universe of Star Atlas, right? Most of the time, game designers overall in RPGs, they limit the different species difference to bonus or stuff like that because it's easier. But I would love to see us here in Star Atlas deep diving on many different stuff that would make each one of the species very variable to deal with some things in the Star Atlas universe. So, for example, punabs have a very developed sense of smell. So maybe if a punab comes close enough to rare uh, biomaterials that are relevant and important, he would trigger a an alert to the player. You know, I'm smelling something close by, so the player would start searching. You know, things like that. I really like this concept, so I'll push to this. Try not to fart near the. Yes, something like that. Yeah, This is what I'm thinking about. Um, Now a really cool one that I really want to see in game at some point is phase shifting materials. Like imagine, for example, that your ship has a phase shift uh, engine that allows your ship, your vessel, to shapeshift to phase for 2 seconds on a cooldown. You go straight to hammer an asteroid, and then you phase at the last moment, and the guys pursuing you will hit the asteroid and die. Like, this is for me, this is a very cool stuff. I feel like this could change the whole game on fleet compositions, creating skills like those derived from the materials that you use on your components in game. And I think this opens up so many doors for cool stuff for us to explore that, yeah, I mean, imagine how much in the future would a such engine go on the market, something that requires those very rare materials to build, very specialized skills to craft, and yeah, and this would also, I feel, pump a little bit the skill-based aspect of our game, because, for example, if you have this engine that will require a lot from your ship power source, but you press this at the wrong button, you are basically just limiting your ship because he won't be able to generate as much energy, and it will be useless in your fleet configuration, So I really like anything that we can do to make skill-based uh, features shine in Star Atlas overall. Yeah, VB, I'm actually I'm actually not sure if we are going to be able to cover that, my friend. I think we'll probably need to go to creatures to have a whole brew about creatures in the next Lore Keepers, because this is such an important topic. I have so many ideas on different animals and creatures and monsters that I feel that we need to have a proper Lore Keepers just to talk about that one. I'm sorry, friend. I'm going slower than I was thinking here, but I think it's cool overall. I think this is important to gather feedback on that kind of material. Yeah, like for example, the next one here we have uh, energy adaptive metagenics, like a substance that can absorb a kind of energy to fool their properties. So, for example, we'll have a shield that can absorb energy, for example, like lasers and things like that. But it would be weak against other kind of materials. And in time, it would store that energy and allow you to fuel another weapon in your ship configuration, for example, or serve as a second power source in game. Yeah, exactly, Vol Phoenix. You have the monster book here. All the monsters in Staratas are stored there. You can show VB later. But yeah, I mean, what you guys think overall of this concept of having those metagenic properties as in-game items that can be infused on ship components? Do you guys think this is too that this would make the game unbalanced, or do you think it's nice to have the objective to have players try to gather those very rare materials in the high risk zone and be able to fully customize their fleets in game. I wanna I wanna know your thoughts here. I think Crash likes it. Yeah, of course. We'll have materials that can be found in the medium risk zone, right? I was just giving you a list of the most powerful ones, but most of the materials won't be found uh, in the high risk zones. Like we'll also have different stuff coming to the medium risk zone, maybe not as intense as the high risk zones ones. Uh, yeah, exactly, Aegir. This is the idea. Like, for example, you can imbue or embed this material in your ship engine. This would cause the ship engine to consume more power from your power source, but it would give your ship unique properties, you know? So there is always a trade-off by using those materials. It's not like a free buff, but that something that would make your ship more specialized, like your ship would
This is
perform.
Starborn.
Sorry, I think it was just a hot mic. Yeah, your ship would perform worse than other ships that used other components that were not as power intensive as those ones, but it would allow you to unlock some special features in game. Yeah, for example, a ballad with the different components could face off a C9. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, and my idea is that of course we'll start with generic components, uh, like components that just buff stats. But if you guys like this idea, then we would introduce those elements that could open up the doors for different abilities in the components, Instead of components just giving plus 5 damage, they would also be giving some others mechanics to the game, you know? Would make gamer designers' lives harder, but I feel it's useful or interesting. What you guys think overall? Yeah, 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 yeah. Bob actually uh actually suggested something very important. I am talking mostly about combat applications, but those applications, those components, they could be used for other stuff like special cargo capabilities. Like, for example, your cargo hold could have a pockets dimension inside it. So your ship would be able to carry even more stuff if you had the components embedded with this Potoli technology item that would open up more space for it. You could have scanners with the ability to tell you exactly the components that your enemy fleets are using. Things like that. Yeah, everyone agrees with Jindo here, or we have people with different opinions? Because I'll be honest, I agree with him. I like the idea of having more crazy stuff, and of course try to balance stuff as well, but having more options for me is more important than everyone being equal or quotes fair. For me, the more wide the possibilities, the cooler the game will be. Yeah, this is interesting. But I'd love to hear if anyone else has a different opinion, of course. No, Mike, no way, man. Yeah, you just missed it. 1 hour of theory craft about Tufa materials, RPG campaign, and chaos in the high risk zone. Yeah, Jindo, I was talking to VB. I think creatures is so important that I'm going to do the creature segment on the next lore keepers. Like, let's make this the official topic of the next lore keepers. I'm just going to talk about creatures. Uh, Anything that you guys want to specifically know, like for example, would you guys rather I talk about pets, about everyday creatures, or the monsters in the medium risk zone, in the high risk zone, looting systems, materials? Let me know in the chat what you guys want to see. Uh, no, so we are not going to sell those things. You guys need to, you guys will be fighting for it and find it in game, not sold by us. So yeah, next lore keepers we'll talk about creatures. I'll go. I'll give a general explanation of the different creatures uh, in Star Atlas, and I think I'm going to also focus on the different aspects of Iris and how it influences some creatures and the materials that they drop in the high risk zone. I think this is a cool topic overall. All right, guys. Thank you very much for being here with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation and the RPG campaign updates. Next, Lore Keepers, we are going to talk more about creatures in Star Atlas overall. Uh, the creatures, as you guys will see, they are very different on depending on the sector and the zone that you are in Star Atlas. So yeah, it's I think it's going to be fun. You guys will we can think about some crazy creatures and stuff to share in Star Atlas
Nice.
as well. Maybe one of you guys has an idea of a very cool creature so I can add in game. It's going to be fun. All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you very much. Have a very cool rest of your day. I love you all. We'll see you guys next Wednesday on the Atlas Brew. See ya. Take care. Bye bye.